Hello everybody, it's Joe here and welcome back to my F1 24 career mode. We are at the mid stage of the season and Yuki Tsunoda is now our new rival in the championship standings.
Hello and welcome back, and as you can see, the paddock is a hive of activity behind us. More action though going on behind closed doors because, Anthony Davidson, we are in the middle of silly season. There is speculation everywhere as to where the drivers will move around the grid. Tell me from a driver's perspective, just how distracting is this?
It is a distraction, and it has been up until this point in the season, especially when you're outside of the car. But once that helmet goes on and the visor's down, it's back to business as usual, and that's when you see it all melt away. You're in the car doing what you do best. But yeah, certainly out of it, you sometimes see it boil over. Drivers have a few strong words to say to each other after some moments on track because it is such a stressful environment.
A huge mind game for all of the drivers. We're having secretive meetings, clandestine chats. What is exactly being said though? Give us a level of insight.
So if you're not performing, obviously, we're in a very brutal world in Formula One where the driver's data is there on show for inside your team for all to see, and you're constantly being compared against your teammate. There's nowhere to hide. And if you're not performing, then your team boss might be looking elsewhere and might not be telling you the full story. So sometimes you seek news from elsewhere in the paddock, even from the media. They might be telling you what's really going on with inside your team, and that's very uncomfortable. And then on the flip side, if you're having a great season, you might be the one having secretive talks with other teams that are performing better than your own team.
Okay, well, we're nearly out of time, so I'm going to send you to the commentary box and we're going to get ready for today's Grand Prix.
No pit stops, no strategy, it's all about the pace today. Qualifying day here at the Hungaroring for the Hungarian Grand Prix.
Welcome to qualifying then for the Hungarian Grand Prix. If you haven't seen the last instalment, do check that one out before you see this one. Right, the one thing I love, it was that mid-season little presentation thing. Just another thing about this new driver career mode that they've added, and I just think it's so much more immersive than it has been over the last few years. And it's disappointing that they've added all these changes to the driver career mode, and yet they've added pretty much next to nothing for my team. So I'm hoping that either in coming months with a patch or on the new F1 25 game when it's released next year, there is more attention paid to the My Team career mode. We will be switching to My Team after a few seasons of driver, but first things first, I want to win the championship in driver career mode first before I switch to My Team. Right, Q1 here in Hungary, that first lap not quite good enough, so we've gone again for a second lap, and though we've improved, we're still stone dead last. So now we're having to do a third lap and find a bit more time. And we've found another tenth of a second, but that's not going to be enough, is it? That's really not going to be enough. So unfortunately, we are starting this Hungarian Grand Prix completely on the back foot in P19. I'll be honest, this really is not one of my favourite circuits at all. Despite it being one of the circuits I've attended to watch a Grand Prix, but it's a dismal weekend for both of us then, with Bottas also getting knocked out at Q1. What can we make of the race? It's a long race, a lot can happen. I'm hoping that we can at least jump up a few positions and maybe threaten for a point or two.
Welcome to Budapest once again for another round of Formula One action. Historically, a good race for first-time victories, with Button, Hill, Alonso and Heikki Kovalainen all reaching the top step of the podium for the very first time right here. 14 corners then for our drivers to navigate at the 2.7 mile. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position, edging out Lando Norris, who'll start from P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Fernando Alonso, Oscar Piastri, Leclerc, Sainz, Hamilton, Russell, Albon, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Gasly, Perez, Ocon, Sargent, Bottas, Magnussen, Sunshine, Hulkenberg, and Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. And alongside me in the commentary box today, former racing driver herself, Naomi Schiff. I know what we've got to...
I know you're frustrated to be this far back on the grid, but you got...
Yeah, to be honest, I don't want to hear it. Let's just get into this race. 35 laps ahead of us. And we are underway at Budapest, and Hulkenberg was really... Oh, Magnussen even, sorry. Was really not away well at all. But now he's coming back at us. But Ocon's taking the inside line. We've found space down the inside, though. Brake super late. We're trying to gain a few positions here. We're banging wheels with Daniel Ricciardo, and our teammate Bottas having a look to the inside of the left-hander, but we're going to try and go around the outside of him and try and do the Ricciardo move on Ricciardo. It's not worked, and Bottas is still there, but he was unable to get back past, and we have moved up. No, Bottas is still with us. Bottas trying for the inside of the chicane. I'm trying to hold it around the outside. We've just kept the position, but annoyingly for us, the pack got away from us a little bit while we were battling Bottas, and that is really not what we needed at all. I really want to try and stay within the DRS just to have some kind of momentum on the straight, because I fear we might be sitting ducks down that straight. End of lap 2. We have stayed with Ricciardo, but we're not getting what I would call close enough to try and have an overtake. Lap 2 completed, and the fastest lap repeatedly changing hands, eventually settling at the hands of Charles Leclerc. But look at that. There's nothing we can do here. We don't have a long enough straight, and everybody is in a DRS train, so we're a little bit stuck on lap 3 out of 35. I don't know what we can do to move forwards here. I'm kind of hoping that there are some drivers that are going to two-stop this race, because this track is quite hard on tyres, so there might be the odd two-stopper here and there that might help us gain places. But look, we're struggling to pace. Meanwhile, we're now watching Max Verstappen as he's setting one up for Lando Norris. He's going to go down the inside of the first corner, and Max Verstappen, with a very textbook overtake, into the lead of this Hungarian Grand Prix. Norris trying to fight him, but he just hasn't got the momentum. Next time round, here comes Fernando Alonso, nearly losing the back end of the car as Norris defends, but Alonso selling him the dummy, then going up the inside. He's not quite got it done. He's side by side with Lando Norris as they now come round the left-hander, and Alonso round the outside makes that work. Up into P2 for Fernando Alonso. The wily old fox has still got some tricks with him yet. Meanwhile, we're now defending the attention of our teammate Valtteri Bottas. He's trying to make a move around the outside. He's side by side, but I'm holding the inside line, and we keep Bottas behind us for now. But I'm now thinking there's no sense in fighting him, because at this stage of the race, I think Bottas might be faster. So we've pulled aside now to let Bottas go through, see what he can do, let him have a chance at going after Daniel Ricciardo. And I'm going to try and sit behind in the DRS of Bottas and just see how this works out. Oh, that's not going to work out too well, hitting that curb, because the car getting a little bit destabilised there on lap 6 out of 35. And I'm trying to stay with Bottas, but he's quite quick at this stage of the Grand Prix. Meanwhile, we've got a yellow flag ahead. I'm not sure what that's for. Somebody pulling off to the side. It's Lewis Hamilton ahead of us then. Up into P14 we go. And if 4 more ahead of us could drop out so we can get a point and actually secure a double point finish, that would be nice, but I can't see that one happening. For now, though, we are just about hanging with Bottas, and actually, he's not that much quicker. He's about a tenth or two a lap quicker, so our pace at the moment is pretty strong. but how strong is it going to be moving forward towards the second half of this Grand Prix? Well, I'm thinking of two things here. One, I either undercut, or B, I run long and hope for a safety car. But the problem is, if I run long, I'm just going to fall down the field. So we're gonna go for the undercut option and just see how that works out for us. But unfortunately, a sticky wheel nut has hindered us there, and that is 2 extra seconds in the pits. That could count for something later on as we leave the pit lane, and I now get up to speed to push to see if we can gain on the cars ahead. I'm now driving with rage, so that's a few extra tenths, but the frustration is there. Let's see what we can do. And the first batch of cars are starting to pit. We've got Sargent, Hulkenberg, Ocon in the pits. Perez pitted quite early, so I assume that Perez is going to 2 stop. And I think Lance Stroll also made an early pit stop as well. So we're ahead of the first batch of cars, which includes Magnussen. Unfortunately, we're not ahead of our rival Tsunoda, but I'm thinking if we can set some good laps, we might be able to catch him. Lance Stroll is in the pits then, so that'll be his second time in. At least I think it's his second time in anyway. We're ahead of Bottas, which is good news, but we're just behind Ricciardo and Gasly. And look at the gap to Gasly, 1.9 seconds. If the wheel nut hadn't stuck and we had the pit stop go the way we wanted, we'd be ahead of Gasly at this point. So that is frustrating. But we're 5.5 seconds ahead of Bottas. Gasly and Ricciardo might battle, so I'm just going to try and stay with them a bit here and just see if they do battle, and if so, can we capitalise on it? 18 laps to go, and it's just felt very long so far, because I'll be honest, not an awful lot is happening in this race, but I'm now in the DRS of these two. But the problem is, where Ricciardo has DRS, it's become a bit of a mini train, and I'm struggling to get ahead. And Gasly kind of using Ricciardo as a buffer there to protect him against me. I'm now a little bit stuck, so I don't know if we got the pace to get ahead. Meanwhile, we're now watching Oscar Piastri, and he's going to deprive Norris of a place further. It has just not been Lando's day here at the Hungaroring, has it? And Oscar Piastri moving into 4th, Lando Norris dropping to 5th, and Perez is now the car in 12th. I'm trying to stay with these two, but again, we're not quite getting the run out of these 2 corners. The left-hander followed by the final right, where we can set up an overtake, and look how close Perez is. We're going to be a sitting duck to that Red Bull, no doubt about it. As we come out of the last corner, here comes Sergio Perez. I'm not even going to fight this one too hard. There is literally no sense in doing so. He's coming past. I've moved over to try and defend, but Perez has got that, hasn't he? There's no fighting a Red Bull in this car just yet. But with the performance upgrades we're making, we are heading that way. Unfortunately, we did have 1 or 2 minor upgrades fail on us coming into this weekend, and that has put us on the back foot a little bit. But I'm hoping with the summer break ahead, we can bolt on some more upgrades and get our car into a position where we can fight. Our pace in this race has been positive, where we've gained 6 seconds on Bottas since we came out of the pit. So we've had the pace, we just haven't been able to set up that opportunity on Gasly and Ricciardo, and Perez has sailed past them on fresh tyres. It's been a very ordinary race for us. Nothing special, just very mid. It's P12 though, and the pace was relatively good. There's positives to take. I just feel we left a bit on the table today.
And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
It's another the victory and a champion's performance from Max Verstappen.
There was never a moment of doubt today. You could tell that they completely had it under control, and that is a sign of greatness.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport action. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
Well, our angle of the race wasn't particularly interesting, but the fights at the front were. But Max Verstappen winning quite comfortably over Fernando Alonso. Charles Leclerc gets third. Then it's the two McLarens, fourth and fifth, with Sainz sixth, Russell seventh, Tsunoda gaining more points on us in 8th, Perez gets 9th for the fastest lap, and Gasly is 10th. And annoyingly, our fastest lap was a 10th clear of the two ahead of us, so I feel like we would have held 10th if not for that sticky wheel nut, but it is what it is. And there you can see Yuki Tsunoda has now jumped us by a single point, moving into the second half of the season. Verstappen, though, is increasing his lead. Alonso sits in second, Leclerc third, and then it's Norris, Russell, Piastri, Sainz, Perez, Hamilton and Stroll rounding out the top 10. Stroll really with a better result today. He could have jumped Hamilton in the standings, but he didn't. Thank you so much anyway for watching this instalment of Career Mode. Again, in the Constructors' Championship, we have lost a couple of points to VCARB, but we intend to catch up. Anyway, as I said, thank you so much for watching this instalment of Career Mode. Don't forget to like and hit subscribe if you're new here and you want to see more content from me. But until the next time, guys, TTFN, ta-ta for now, take care, and I'll see you all soon. Enjoy the rest of your day.